in the previous video, we set up our database manager with all of the methods that we want to be able to use. These are just common methods that you would see in a database, such as connecting to it and closing it. Well, this time around, what we want to do is inherit all of this. So we're going to use some inheritance here, which is a good skill to have. And we're going to start our new class. This is just going to be for the student. So what I'm going to say here is class student database, but I'm going to inherit database manager that we created up here. So I'm inheriting this. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize it. Again, self. This time around, I'm going to create my connection to my student log .SQLITE. Now, this will establish the connection. If you remember, we look up here, the database name was passed in. So we've inherited this, and we still need to pass this in. So we're going to use super.init. And I'm going to pass in DB name, because that is what's being passed in here, okay? So we're passing this into our student class, but it's also being passed into here. That's why we've got super.init. Now, this time we're going to do self underscore create underscore student underscore table. Now, what this will do is it will run that method right away, okay? So when I initialize this class, it will create the table even if it hasn't been done yet. So let's come out of this. So let's get that method working. Create student table, passing self. This will create the student's table if it does not exist. So I'm going to put that on twice there. All right, so this is just the way I'm commenting my code. You can hashtag it. Okay, now we've got to create our SQL. You'll remember this from a previous video how I did this. So there's my free open. And here we go. We're going to create table if not exists students. Okay, let's get the data in. So student ID integer primary key auto increment not null. Student name text. Student age integer. Last but not least, student subject text. Going to close my bracket, close that off, and finish my SQL statement there. So that is now the SQL. Let's look back so you can understand where this goes in. When I use this method, I can pass the SQL in. So this should start to make a bit of sense now. So I'm creating my student table. Am I finished yet? Absolutely not. I need to go to execute query and pass the SQL in. Where am I getting this method from, you ask? It's inherited. So you should start to see how this works. There, I'm going to go print table students created table students created if it didn't exist. This now means if I use this method, this will tell me that that query has been ran and that it's working. Now, we need our next method, def add student. We're going to have self. Now I need my parameters to go into my query. So this one will use parameters this time, name, age, and subject. And you'll see the difference in the structure of this query for this class in a moment. So I've got add student. This will add students to the student table. Okay, students table I might add, so don't get that twisted. Okay, now what we're going to need to do there is, again, start your SQL. Equals 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What I'm going to do is go to, let's move insert into students, student name, student age, student subject. Then underneath it, you're going to have your values, which are going to be your parameters. This is why parameters are so important. You will see this in a minute. So I've got SQL, insert into students, the student name, the student age, the student subject, and the values that go with it. We're not finished yet. Self dot, see, there's what I've inherited, but this time around, I've got the SQL that I've created here. I've got parameters. And what will happen is inside that parameters, this is where this does the if parameters pass params in, okay? If there are parameters, so in this case, we are going to have name, age, and subject. So those will be passed in now. And again, just so you can see where we're at in the table, we go print student. What you can do, student added successfully. Dot format name. So what this will do is it will tell us which student has been added in. So it will say student added in successfully. Last but not least, the last class that we need is def get all students. I'm going to push that there, self. This one is going to be a query that retrieves all students from the students table. And what's going to happen here, I'm going to do a simple SQL query, no parameters, and it's just going to be select all from students. And we're going to go return self dot fetch all, and the SQL is going to be passed in. Okay, now again, you'll run it, but what you'll notice is that nothing happens, because the next video of this is going to show you how you can use this class. What I do want you to take away from this video is that you'll notice within parts of this code that I've used things like fetch all and execute query. Okay, you will notice that. All right. What you need to remember in this case is that these were inherited from the original main database manager. So if you are having this approach and you want to demonstrate that you've got OOP within any project or any coding that you are doing, this is the way to do it. So our final video of this will demonstrate this working. It will be short but sweet, but watch it back and you'll see how we can modify this and change it.